Nzontshela, when I say I don't know, really, it's quite the understatement. I do know. Lerata tjhelete, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Many who have wandered after it have pierced themselves with many pains. Nya boshwa into satanic practices. Do you understand? By invitations to join a cult. In order for you to get a promotion, a tender, in order for you to one day become somebody special, somebody big, and in order for you to be somebody big, somebody special, they insist in some of y'all's lives ukuthi niolala in orgies nabantu abaningi nje kuphela, including amadoda amanye. I don't know how many rituals, okay, not rituals, but testimonies I've listened to of former occult practitioners on YouTube that speak about how it is that in their initiation ritual, they were made to sleep with a man. And it's largely men that are made to do this. Women, they don't insist upon women having lesbian relations. They insist upon men having male relations because there's something about penetration. There's something about the phallus that's extremely intrusive. It's violating. It's dissociating to a person. It splits you. Do you understand? Such that the lesbians are suka letlo dlala nje fela. Letlo dlala fela. Letlo bapala, ka ice cream, please relax. That's nothing. There is something about male penetration that is extremely usable cultically, in a spiritual sense, to transfer random rubbish. Yeah. So yeah, amadoda largely that are insisted upon when they join cults to sleep with other men, and not so much women. I've yet to hear of women being told in a satanic ritual in order for you to be initiated. Women are made to sleep with men, and they're also made, listen to this, to embrace anal coitus. They're made to embrace anal relations in a satanic ritual. So she has never done that before, and then she's made to experiment with it. So abafazi bona ba initiatwa in the same ndlela that men get initiated. I guess it's about utilizing the wrong orifices in the body for things that are considered abominable in the sight of God. Sex between men and women and women. It is about violating parts of the body that are not supposed to be done that with. It is about completely disregarding the vaginal canal in favor of the anal canal. And so for those reasons, women are also made to do this kind of sex. And it damages them. It just dissociates them. That causes them to be drawn, attached to this mode of sinning against God that makes it very hard for them to get out of it afterwards. But develop these certain relations, these certain character flaws. Hence, the assistant Mr. Beast, you know how he went gay all of a sudden overnight? He was transitioning after divorcing his wife. It is presumed, assumed, and speculated by many people commenting on that particular story, including many in the body of Christ, that what happened is that he was introduced to a particular type of pornography called sissy porn. And it's basically a whole bunch of men like having each other that way. So all up in your grill, Romans 1 being unfolded. And so when then men are made to watch this time and time again, all of a sudden, mafila ingati, instead of what do I want to say? Instead of Candace, they would rather go for Cain. Instead of Talita or Tabitha, they would much rather go for Timothy. It makes them suddenly look at men some kind of way. Even if in and of themselves they've never experimented in this capacity insofar as they watch this kind of pornography. They then next thing be out here trying to wear igwai or something. They be out here trying to make like Kirk Franklin, lipstick obviously a pinky, and then you go and you do a photo shoot. Lipstick a pinky, lipstick. Please, you don't have naturally pink lips. You be out here rocking and then claiming orike fashion. You be out here doing a whole full face beat when yesterday you were completely straight. You be out here pulling a Kris Jenner. Caitlyn, even if you're a Republican, bottom line is you are a monna. You are a ndota gunento. It's turning them. It's turning them. And this thing about tenishayo. It's satanic, it is demonic, it is in your dogs off, you are barking. Lidincha, langudra, le rata chelete. And so to by any means necessary in getting die zager, you are phrasing women with this practice. There is already the prolific amount of sexually transmitted disease issue going on in these streets. From what the Lord shows me, the disease cocktail amidst people in this 2024 is ridiculous. The sexually transmitted disease cocktail in this 2024 is just prolific. It's prolific more even than what we see. But to fella about the antibiotics clears some of it, and then ARVs makes undetectable some of others. Marahonale, a cesspool of disease that is on the ramp up. Pestilence in the last days is one of the things prophesied to happen in Matthew 24. And the increase in this pestilence, yes, is as a result of the sexual revolution and people just sleeping with whomever they want to sleep with, thinking Wuti they're liberating themselves. But it also has a lot to do with tabaori. People are trying to gain for themselves wealth. They're trying to amass for themselves stuff. And in so doing, are prepared to do anything, including doing sex rituals, partake in orgies, just to get a music career, just to get an acting career, just to get a business opportunity, a business tender. They are allowing themselves to have heinous sexual rituals. They are sleeping with animals, bestiality. And they're also sleeping with same sexes, especially males, men to men, or men to women in the wrong hole. And the sad and disquieting thing about that is that because it is a satanic ritual, it is generally expected that it's going to be raw, it's going to be sonor, it's not going to be using protection. I don't know why you think that occult rituals protect you from HIV, guys. Why you think that an occult ritual will protect you from gonorrhea, the clap, from trichomoniasis, from HPV, from chlamydia, like just a cocktail of whatever could happen to you. Just because it's a ritual, you are now protected from that which slaps everybody else that does it, however, outside of ritualistic gates. Like angas, yo, hey, mamelang, men to men, male to male contact in this particular regard is a lot more lethal even than male to woman. Why? Because of the fact, we all know that it is far easier for a woman to contract HIV than a man to contract it from a woman. Because like I said, there's something about penetration that's extremely taxing if it's not pure, if it's not clean. It's extremely taxing. We as women can get what is called cervical cancer from simply being sexually active. The moment you become sexually active as a young woman, doctors will insist that you go for a pap smear every 6 months. They don't insist that when you're still 12, 13 years old, you're yet to fornicate. They don't insist that you have a pap smear. Even though you are on your period, you basically have all the plethora of potential issues that a woman could get vaginally because of being a mature woman that is ovulating. It is only once the person in question starts to become sexually active that a doctor will then insist that you get a pap smear every 6 months. If you've been a naughty little teenage girl that is out just sleeping with her boyfriend, every time you go for a checkup, the doctor will ask you, are you sexually active? If when you say yes, he or she will do a pap smear. They will insist on it. Because cervical cancer becomes a risk from the moment you become sexually active. Because there are pathogens that go into the vaginal canal from having sex. Coital activity, copulation, whatever you want to call it, increases the microbiome of that region is put in danger by this phallus coming in with or without a condom, because there's just something like men, they just bring all that into a woman's area, from touching their hands because of eating grub, not washing their hands, or holding lifts, railings at malls, all that jazz, kitchen counters, and just feel like just walking around touching everything. And then you go and you touch your manhood, and even though you might wash your hands after doing the deed, after basically number one and number twoing, even though you might wash your hands, rarely ever will a man out here be showering his manhood every single time he uses the bathroom to pee, every single time. And rarely ever do men wash their hands before they touch themselves down there when they need to go and pee. So therefore, all those pathogens that they grab from all different kinds of places They touch themselves and then they only then go and wash their hands. Hopefully they actually wash their hands, because there are some people that are clapping matsoho after using the little girl's room or the little boy's room. But you know, even the most hygienic men is highly unlikely after washing his hands before he touches himself down there. And very rarely do people take showers before they have sex. So therefore, a person that's been handling his manhood all day long, and every so often, I mean, depending as well on how he wipes when he does the number 2, stuff can land over there. I personally like to flush, like when you're doing the number 2, goop. Yeah, it stinks, and if you're not done, it's ideal to just flush, right? While you are waiting for the 3rd or the 4th little bomb to drop type establishment thing. Yeah, that's what's good. So when you're busy sitting down and there is flushing happening, it's like backwash. It goes back up to you again with all of those things being in the toilet. And if you don't wipe yourself down thoroughly with all different kinds of germ killing disinfectants like seba, like straight away, if you don't do that straight away, that stuff is just kind of chilling in that region, and I mean, it's totally gross. Okay, so therefore, if you're not the kind of person to insist on showering entirely before you do the dirty, a whole bunch of stuff can be, you know, transferred over to the person in question with whom you're engaging in these relations, and pathogens are then easily spread that way. We know that people are told not to drink from still waters, like the river and out in the wilderness, because of things like E. coli. The E. coli of which comes from poop of which comes from people in that region out here pooping into the ocean. Not ocean, what you call this? Into the rivers. And because of the fact that nature's natural way of basically disinfecting and cleansing water is not happening, because it's not fresh water, it's not flowing water that there's a process that it goes through naturally to cleanse itself, but it's still water. When then you drink from here, you get things like cholera, E. coli, all up and like traveling in your bloodstream and what have you. So basically, human poop really and truly can bring about a plethora of problems. And if these men are out here flushing because they have to sit like us when they're doing the number 2, if they're busy flushing because this poop stank too much, it needs to go, and I still got like 3 more rounds to like basically unleash bombs. So if he flushes before he stands, it will all go up and land on him. The water from the bathtub, the best way, the toilet, the best way to prevent this upward flushing, spraying that happens, is to put tissue there to make sure that the tissue goes down but the water does not come up, and the tissue is a barricade. But if there is no tissue that you put in there, you're gonna get sprayed back up, okay? And this spraying will sometimes land in your body as a woman. So when you've got that kind of stuff, like whatever it is that you get at still waters near areas where people be pooping and peeing in Metsi, do you understand what I'm saying? When somebody comes then and you are being romantic and you are grabbed like proper, you've got those pathogens coming into your body from this man's manhood. Do you understand what I'm saying? In a way, however, that with women, it doesn't quite happen. Even if you get sprayed back up again, it lands on your buttock and in the thigh area over there. And then you wipe yourself. If you feel like there's something wet, you wipe yourself. But it does not go up the vaginal canal because we're an intrusion. Whereas the men are a protrusion, a protuberance. Do you understand what I'm saying? But this protuberance that's out here dangling is going to catch all that water. And I mean, how many men out here, like proper, be wiping their manhood? Men don't even, that's the thing. Men, like especially these silly ones that be doing whatever they do in public, they just wiggle this thing around to basically remove whatever might be on there. But I don't know of any man, not even my ex-boyfriend when I was with him, that out here be dabbing with tissue the way that we dab with tissue. Like we wipe with tissue, both the front and the back. We don't use toilet paper only for the back. We use it for the front too. We pee and then we wipe. Men pee and then they get dressed. They pee and then they get dressed. So there's probably so much like leftover, like you know, trickles of urine on their board shorts, their underpants and whatnot. Yeah, all their toxins are out here. Their excrement is out here just chilling on the tip of his manhood all day long. And then if at all you out here, which is what they insist in the occult, doing things raw, that stuff is going inside whoever this dude is going to be hanging with. They don't take a shower first, hardly ever does anybody take a shower before they have sex. intentionally anyway, for the very purpose of preventing pathogens from spreading and whatnot. That's why doctors insist from the moment you are sexually active to have a pap smear every 6 months, because stuff could go in there that could be cancer causing, carcinogenic. Essentially, cancer causing stuff can go in there from the man's shaft or from the man's tip, and with or without a condom of course, what do you call this, it reduces risks and what have you, but still a person, when they put on a condom, still have to handle that condom with their hands. And if they have not washed their hands in the run-up to and have been touching railings, blah blah blah, Gavana 609, you are basically going in a woman with a condom on the outside of which has got a whole bunch of pathogens that have been put there by this dude handling this particular device, whatever you want to call it, paraphernalia, sexual paraphernalia. Yeah, when he's out your man handling it, a busy answer lifty bus railings and whatnot. Yeah, no condom or no condom, it literally don't matter. You are just be getting itches. Like I told you guys the other day that in the tribulation it's ideal that y'all don't have sex, because you are going to get little itches that you can't deal with. You're gonna get thrash and hard knock. And I told you guys that I've been celibate for 13 years. And in all of my season of celibacy, because of my celibacy, I rarely ever have vaginal issues. Like rarely. I don't get thrashed. I don't get any kind of thing flaring up there anymore, because there is nothing going there anymore other than vaslapa, other than metsi, other, you get my point. All that's happening there is what's coming out, but nothing is going in. So for those reasons, because hule fresh, hule aerated, I get my issues. I don't have thrash. I don't have my itches. I don't have flare-ups that can happen in the life of a sexually active woman. Even if you are on your A game with your vaginal health, bottom line is if you're sexually active, you have to keep doing stuff like douching and wada. You just have to keep doing stuff, because you have to flush out all that stuff that is going in there, therefore potentially wreaking quite a handsome amount of havoc in your life. Not that I have not needed to go for a pap smear, because it's ideal to go for one every 6 months. You could still get cervical cancer from a myriad of other things other than being sexually active, but sexual activity definitely 100% increases the risk of it, like by a landslide. So for those reasons, doctors always insist when a young woman, a little teenage girl even, when they're sexually active, say every 6 months pap smear, every 6 months pap smear, every 6 months you need to do a pap smear. And the pap smear is because a protuberance out your intruding the vaginal area can cause cancer. So I mean, for crying out loud, when then these phalluses flying around all over the show are going up now, an environment that can cause cholera, because it is riddled with all different kinds of bacterium, E. coli and whatnot, because it's toxins leaving the body, it's gastric acids and all different kinds of things. It stinks, full of methane, nitrogen, all different kinds of stuff. It is supposed to go out, and you are supposed to wipe there, and when then you go and you grab manhood and you put it in a place like that. What the heck? Not only are we dealing with, I can't even fathom how it must smell, but also the challenge with those kinds of pathogens that are being constantly exchanged between different men or a woman in a sexual ritual that has got multiple people therein. Whether or not people are wearing condoms is at this particular juncture irrelevant, because nothing is supposed to go up that place unless it is doctors looking paraphernalia to check you for some kind of whatever, because you be out here getting piles or something, or you have got issues, so a doctor has got to send a looking thing up there. There's no reason why anything should be going up there other than for medical purposes. So for sexual pleasure, I do apologize, but there is something attaching to sodomic sex spiritually. There is a different kind of level of soul tie. Like with HIV, for instance, when I used to do the tests, I haven't needed to for years because, celibacy and whatnot. I remember one time I did a test before I got medical aid, go Helen Joseph, and when they explained it to me, I remember my mouth dropping to the ground. On some if one line was negative and then 2 lines was positive, sometimes you would get 3 lines, which is also positive, but if you got a 3rd line, it was basically a strain from Africa somewhere. I was like, how bandla we all can this strain isn't there just one ngulaza and that's it? But no, apparently there were other variations of ngulaza. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, I mean, the variations of sexually transmitted diseases that can be transmitted between people when they do that, where when they just shuffle between men, from man to man, in that particular capacity, it's like the third or the fourth or the fifth or the seventh line on a rapid test. Hunale, a plethora, a cocktail of diseases that likely are even getting manufactured afresh from anal copulation. It's wrong. It's not supposed to happen at all. Nobody is supposed to be going in there other than a doctor with his looking paraphernalia to see if or sharp. And yet people are going in there with each other's manhood, having handled all different kinds of things. And if women need a pap smear every 6 months for being sexually active because of all the random germs that encircle a man's shaft, phallus, and even tip, what under heaven is the recommended course of medical action for men who sleep with men, or men who sleep with women in the wrong orifice? I can't tell you what it is because I haven't studied it. It's not necessary because I mean, why would I want to know? I don't know, but there's probably protocol and measures that doctors put in place, just like a pap smear every 6 months. Do men have a version of a pap smear when they're gay? I don't know. Probably. Why wouldn't there be? In this era of so much crazy going on, some like anal cancer, just like cervical cancer, does it not happen more to gay men than it does anybody else? Probably. I don't know though, because I only studied vaginal health for my own sake, you know, because I'm out here trying to take care of myself as a woman. So I know a whole bunch of stuff about female hygiene and female health, but I can't tell you about what goes down in a man's situation, especially when they're involved in that kind of sex. So they are putting themselves in harm's way, but also putting women in harm's way when they insist that women also take in their stride anal copulation. And this has been on the ramp up, on the increase, because Satan is aware that there is some kind of strange other permutation of soul tie that is like a third and a fourth and a sixth line on a rapid test that happens with anal sex. There is something about anal sex that is the obsession of the occult. They just insist upon it, on women and on, of course, men, with men. And then once they have done this thing, abakwazi ukubuyela to their straight lives, they then now start to think ukuthi they are gay. They start to believe things that were not true. Up to the age of 27, Abuti, you were straight, looking at only women. It made you cringe, even the prospect of two men kissing each other. And now, just for the sake of starting a business, Itenda, for the sake of getting that $1 million contract, you are gonna let yourself sleep with a man, and then next thing you can't help but continue to go back to that. You've been given that desire, that sexual deviancy, that perversion in you, that dissociation in you. And now you're going out here be asking your wife to experiment with that in the bedroom. Hi Temba, why would you want to do this? And Temba's like, no, I'm just curious because I saw it on a porn site. Because these days, speaking about porn like it's normal is like a whole 2024 thing. Eh? Like watching pornography is no longer the taboo it used to be back in the day. So when a guy's like, I got this idea from watching porn, the woman is not going to doubt Atlobali concerns. She's just going to be like, okay, my husband watches a whole bunch of porn. And I don't even know why any woman would be content with a husband always watching porn, because fine, so biblically it is looking at another person with lust and so committing adultery with the heart, but people in the world don't care so much about that. But isn't there something just utterly decimating about your husband needing to watch porn to get happy with you? I don't know, whatever. Okay, it diminishes the glory and the value of a woman when you're out there trying to experiment on her with things that you saw on a porn set. It probably destroys sex life, like altogether. I would hate to have a husband, even as a worldly woman, that is besotted with porn. I would absolutely hate it. But these guys claim Muguti it's porn, and since they watch it with their wives, they then keep on experimenting with things that they apparently saw on a porn set. So it's apparently allegedly innocuous because it's there far away. You can't get an STD from watching something, can you? Yeah. Except they experiment with it. They do it in the occult. They gain money. Don't just come in. They also have to engage in sex rituals. There are men out here that are actually picking up girls on the street, offering them 10,000 rands to have sex with them, only to transfer some strange, like, satanic omen into them, taking their wombs, taking whatever in order to amass for themselves wealth. So sex is a big, fat, chunky part of the occult. It's a massive, massive part of the occult. And there are pathogens being spread to and from, and hence the epidemic of disease in 2024. That's why Lekwatile Soba side. You are mad at me for what your men did to you. Like, they hurt you in this way and you are hurting me. And now there is one Jason. There is one Senzo. There is one occult creep that was introduced to gay sex by... This man was introduced to gay sex by the occult. And ever since then, he hasn't been able to look at women properly. He started out lo sakile, straight as an arrow. And now he prefers gay sex. He prefers it above girls, above women. But because he has heterosexual desires, seeing as that's what he started out as, he has the capacity to have a crush, feelings for women. And now he's looking at me on someone cause like yo sakile. Yes, like it abuti ogbala le banna. Or a disease on top of that. And because of the fact that the male phallus is far easier able to spread disease than a woman can ever transfer diseases from her own intrusion. On the wedding night, Baga, I would already be out the next day, starting to feel some kind of burn, some kind of itch, some kind of visit to the doctor. But down below, I would get a disease straight away. You got HIV, but I mean, when you're so involved with men, time and time again, other diseases, just a cocktail that are likely being manufactured on the spot. Likely being manufactured on the spot, like proper new diseases just coming out of the woodworks because of mutations of viruses. Strengthening of gonorrhea until you need to be put on an IV because it's a superbug that cannot be done away with just basic antibiotics. You are creating new diseases by simply just going from one man to another, to another, to another, to another, until this stuff has mixed and created a brand spanking new pathogen. So I mean, what is the World Health Organization going to do about that? I don't know about people creating new strains of funny little diseases. You're like a little laboratory out there doing gain of function research. Creating very strong, hard-knock, human-destroying bacterium through sex rituals in the occult. Monkeypox is more readily, easily spread between men who have sex with men. So, when then your women out, you're getting monkeypox because, you know, first you went through Jabu in a satanic ritual and then took a shower at home. I took a shower in the occult. That stuff on you. And then you have sex with a woman and next thing that woman is angry at me. She's bitter at me. Karabo for not settling for one of you. Karabo, your women are angry at me. We are just going to go see kunyama and sonke women is kunyama antibiotics nama ARV. Like just together, kumbaya, ARV, kumbaya, and just swinging left to right, all of us just swallowing some kind of medication. Because we all are married to men that carry mamlambo. All of us have got men abatwele. All of us have got men abanamantigoloshi neighborgo. All of us have got amadota. Analinding anaconda. The mamlambo. All of us have got husbands that had to do what they needed to do with the Sonke Sopile estate. We all gotta go and live in a house and a swimming pool and a jacuzzi. So I mean, really and truly, what's a little gonorrhea and a little IV to deal with a superbug in the midst of a big fat chunky mansion? The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and many who have wandered after it have pierced themselves with many pains. And now there's one that wants me, and not only like is this guy just a satanic beast, but he's also like my dad. So I mean, get double, triple whammy. My dad was an irresponsible psychopath, Nabora. Nexamorati. All the way up until Ajona, he was a wicked, worthless man. That's what's good. And they are trying to marry me off to my kilori lekinyalan ntatwaka. I actually just like now, when I was in between takes, the Holy Spirit told me that this Sakile guy took a test to see if it'll come out negative. Because sometimes ARVs can make the virus so undetectable in your body that even with a rapid test, it looks negative. But if you stop taking those ARVs for any season of time, the positive test is gonna show again. So I mean, it's just freaking life risking what these people do. They test for HIV positive. They then go on PrEP, they take HIV, ARVs, they do all different kinds of things until it's undetectable, and every so often they deceive women into marrying them thinking they've got a clean bill of health. How in the world do you overwhelm somebody like that? I guess there are tests that will detect HIV in spite of how undetectable it is, a different kind of test. Rapid test won't do it. The one that you know, over the counter, if you want to call it that. It's not really over the counter, but the one that they prick you here, goop, apparently from what the Lord is showing me. Sometimes it can come out negative, even though a person is positive. Because they are made to be in what would be the tantamount of, the window period of HIV, where because I also be traceable, I also be detectable. So on a rapid test, so a person initially tests negative. So there must be a test for HIV that then exists, that 100% confirms that a person either has it or doesn't have it, that cannot essentially escape positive readings. That's what, if at all I were to be given a husband, I will insist on. Because la matota are so freaking full of trickery. Like, testile this guy, it's one negative because he's undetectable. Look, I'll marry you. He's like my dad. I would imagine that this guy probably hanabana. He's probably age appropriate, which is why he thinks he's appropriate for me. God compared him to Ravi Zacharias. He's a sexual deviant in these streets. God he's got Christianese on his tongue. That's why he thinks that he can get me as a Christian. But he's HIV positive, however, undetectable because he has busy ARV. Health, this boy. It doesn't show on my tests. And then I figure azo bega ring on my finger. Yo, guys. Ke lorile bang tsetsa lilobola ke sakhile ke monna o tsoneleng tatwa ka mara a young version of my dad. Tatwa made my mom's life a living nightmare. Angioletelo mina ama disease, male phalluses are far more able to spread pathogens than female bodies. HIV is far more transmissible from a man to a woman than from a woman to a man. It's easier that way. You can go and read it up. So these people who are far more able to spread diseases because of their protuberance, they are so irresponsible sexually. Guys, I prayed, and because I prayed, and every time I come here and I speak these things, you go back to the drawing board. Lang lawyer you try to kill me. I get these videos good. I keep hearing her funeral service. Why? Because kinali shield, kinali protection, to make sure I don't end up mina ARV having entered into a marriage nendota in HIV kodwa migu undetectable at the time we went and did a rapid test at the clinic. Hi abutikise ke maswabi angiyothathwa mina sakhile ka spitsa parafini nje fela ka monna who during the day he is busy out here booking into a hotel with another man. Abari he went to a client meeting during the day, so because he's gonna come in 6:30, 7 just like other people baling no man. And you be thinking your husband has been at work all day long. Somewhere in the afternoon in a hotel room during lunch. Guys, and imagine these ones that are doing really well for themselves, which many occult men are. You don't have to call into work because you the boss. Beyonce. Oh baby, let's get lost. You don't have to call into work because you the boss. So imagine when you don't have to call into work because you the boss. You don't even have to tell your boss. When you take a 2-3 hour break from the office, during the season of which he's out here having sex with a man in a hotel, and then he'll come home gasling 6:30 to you as a wife. He'll come home gasling 7 at the latest. He is not going to be malunde all up in your grill. At least it's a freshly baked carrot cake from Woolies. These snacks. Also, I just wanted to spoil you, baby. Lema blom, amangata di rose, multicolored. But during the day, he was having sex with a man. For 2 hours, because he don't got to call into work because he the boss. He can just go. And then he comes home on time, has sex with you after doing that with a man. Ha ke tlo nkiwa nna ke spisa paraffin. Ha ke tlo bitswa main chick or regte by any man ever again. In other words, the kind of man that has regte or main chick precisely because bakhona abanye ama sides. Never again, mina, am I ever gonna be called regte or a main chick by any man. I am a wife and that's it. I am not called anything else. Mara ke batla ke banna that will have many sides, including sides tsa banna, that are gonna shock me one day when I am irresponsibly going through a man's phone, only to find Sbusiso, Jabu, Themba, John, Tebogo, amadoda writing my man, giving me nostalgic flashback memories. A PTSD enge hard knock of when I busted a boyfriend yam for all those text messages about how it is that he drives women up the wall with his romancing because he thought he was D'Angelo. How do you feel? But this time, instead of it being just a litany of women, every so often in the middle of Lerato and Cassandra, there is Busiso. Yo, dog. This guy, from what God shows me, prefers amadoda. He prefers them. He prefers amadoda. It's his guilty pleasure. But it hasn't always been that way. Manje, when that's the thing going on, la emkatweni in the occult, guys, give maswabi. I am thoroughly sorry. Me, I'm apologetic. I am sending condolences for the thing that you have lost your mind, Lankutra. I am not going to be the victim of Jason, Senzo, baby oil, Puff Daddy. I'm sorry. Never again is my husband. Like, I'm not gonna be married to a man who one day is going to have a whole bunch of baby oil confiscated from his mansion. The heck are you doing with all that baby oil, yo? I'm sorry. Sexual deviancy. Kill a celibate for 13 years. Yo, I know. Let's take a katara, guys. La jive. Liko di katare. Wait again. Tum turum pum pum kam kam titi. Khulala mino in the background. Wadi comedic. Wadi comedian. Liko di katare nyo. Khulala bass guitar. Li piano. Lady tap dancer. Demo staging. Beetle tap. Yeah, you are tap dancing. La. Lidi katareng angispai ga ke long ya diswa monna o tsherianeng o kwentseng satani that also has a sexual deviancy of preferring amadoda amanye kodwa ufuna ukuzokhipha ilobola for Karabo. Mina angiye bathong. Did I tell you stories selesa my mom? Or there was a day when she came back from ukvakasha. She had left the house for a few weeks. Makabuya endlini wathola bed, or the marital bed, inale seminal fluid and period blood and discharge and and she had to clean all that. Hana khutla from where it is that she came from. For a few days, so could not even welcome his wife home. Welcome home, Fazwam. Unale kodi katareng. Mara not first before leaving his own semen stains and the period blood of some women and whatnot that he was busy with kompetongosa alulwang for my mom to find and clean. I get bukwana into a psychiatric hospital because of a man, Lankutla. Angizo bukwa mina into some kind I get stray suit because I can't stop flailing umese in the face, in front of the throat of Lenjale, because I tried to kill him. Bese bangi restrain, bangi vimba, bangi bamba, bang swar. Hore keska mo fesa, keska mo fufora, ebe ke lo bukwa ko star fontlane tini. Ga ko admit wana ko spetleleng. ke faintile because of diketso tsa monna la nkutlwe lebalang ha ke tlo banka monna ka ke khutlile gae early from a trip a robetse ke e seng le ka chili guys mara le monna I'm not gonna walk into my man. Yo, guys, yes, like it's a trauma with a man. Like, I am sorry, I'm not doing it. It's bad enough. Ugyo banka, I boyfriend yako. Ne side chick, yo. It's bad enough go mo bona ko tle water a tsamaya le side chick a ba ikutsa a ba ipata ba re ke colleague, a ba re ke cousin. It's bad enough go kopana le di text messages tsa go swaba mo phone from some flirting Candace. Like, yo, it's bad enough to suspect that my husband is cheating with his secretary. Dineo dikeledi. Ha se tse jwanong nna. Ke tlo discover or monna ka grand chapo out here ntsa tsamaya le yona a re o lo have di drinks. Antsa tswa le yona that's also another problem. Monna o tlo ba le di drink ke tshilo the other day ke akella ke complain ke re nna ha ona monna o tlo ba yang amsele mo fridge yak. Go blomile autumn harvest. Or a Southern Comfort. Nje fela e blomile in my pantry. Cause mo twateng every so often no get the type that I need be. Yo, no thank you. My dad was an alcoholic. Ke lorile bang nyadisa ntatwaka. Monna o tlo ba yang Southern Comfort le Johnny Walker. Ko pantry yaka nna ke san. Not only am I going to be dealing ka monna wa go nwa bojwala. First issue. He then is also going to be cheating on me, no, not with Candace, but with Kane. Like I said, I'm not getting into a psychiatric hospital. I'm not going into Arkham Asylum because I am in some kind of a psychiatric version of a prison. Like the kind of jail that they send mentally, like, you know, unhinged people to. It's a jail, but for the cray-cray. I'm not going to a psychiatric prison because of murdering my husband. I apologize. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to test with 3-4 strands of HIV. On a rapid test, ki putsoro abutona jaka hangta tse strain se sengisa ko Africa ke tlo moetsa. Ga ko bolaya monna ke lo mo chopa di body parts tsa gagwe di be 7. Be ke bitsa maponesa with blood splatter on my cheeks. On some he had to die cause I mean what's with the HIV and the trichomoniasis and the chlamydia and the monkeypox? Like, right now, I'm on like a cocktail of freaking medication because of this freak. So, when you are having to collect his arm in the bathroom, and his other toe in the bedroom, and his head, uyithola ko hara pantry, ke beile pela tamati sauce with his Southern Comfort. He had it coming. Mchuchisi in the court is going to give me the loftiest sentence because of a lack of remorse. Yeah, I did it so. Make haste. Give me my orange dungarees really at this particular juncture ke size 34, so just make it snappy. Make sure you accommodate the hips tsaka. It's kabasomnganga, okay. Make leg room for me to gain another 2 kilograms while I'm at it, because in the first 2 months of being in jail, I'm just going to be ruminating on the satisfaction of killing Njaele that had to go. I would get given a maximum sentence precisely because without parole, without the possibility of early release, because of how much I just won't care. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Go judging. I'm just gonna be like, Feta, potlako. Let me get accustomed to orange is the new black. Linkisa guy, Sun City, Lyokop, make a choice. I'll go anywhere at this point. As long as that guy is dead, anywhere is good. Because afterwards, I go to heaven. Kilorile kingala monna wa khonwa di dampitsa hansa. Otlo chitang konna le banna. Otlo nketsa ngore never mind, not like my mom. Kilo tlhatswa di semen stains. Tsanta toaka. Right next to the vaginal discharge of cherry for Mombeto. But this time around, I am out here laundering, washing yadi semen stains tabanna by 3. Mombeto work. My marriage bed. Guys, Gagoya go Sterfonteini Mental Asylum Prison Division. I am not going to be an unhinged woman who is going to have a judge wagging her or his head when he passes the sentence down because of how I was just so remorseless throughout the trial. I'm not going to be that girl. I'm a child of God. I'm a Christian. The line is 7, it's 4, it's 10, more HIV testing right next to me having to be booked into a hospital and put on an IV to deal with super gonorrhea because regular antibiotics would not get rid of it. It was a gnarly case of an STD and a cocktail of them because this dude went in one fell sweep and did a satanic ritual in an orgy where he contracted. Now, he already had HIV, but he also literally got 4 other STDs in that one sitting. And now, and even be checked into hospital so that they can put an IV in my arm to get rid of a super bug that would go nowhere if I did not get booked in. And then on the other side, basing Pumangi infertile because some STDs take away a woman's fertility altogether. I am not going to jail. I am not going to jail. But if I marry one of these dudes, I will go there. Guys, I have a thing about my environment. I'm very particular about I have a thing about smells. I can't share prison and me chilling with some other women who likely maybe ubudlapa. When I'm in the bathroom, I keep living high one, even if gama roses because somebody has sprayed bathroom air aerosol that spray rose. That it's been empty or vacant for 4 hours before I went in there. I don't open my mouth in the bathroom. All day long. All day long I pray in tongues. Except for when I'm in the bathroom. Because it's just, for me, it's the imagination. They poo, they pee. It feels so unsanitary to talk in the bathroom for me. That when I was working at MTN, these women that would be out here having entire big, long, tall conversations go bathroom, I'd be like, what are you doing? There's places for you to go in and out, like ngeno pume. Flash and all of their stuff is praying in the sky. In and out. Get out. And then only. So manje, for me to have a prison cell that has a toilet in it, toilet of which does not even have a seat to close. Yes, like prisons are like that because you can't wake up in the middle of the night and actually walk out of your cell and go to a communal prison toilet. It's in your cell. And if at all your cellmate makes a decision to poop in the middle of the night, you gotta take that stench in your stride. Sometimes prisons don't even have windows that are open, and so you have to basically settle for vent. That's going to take moya ona out. And the stench that is rising up in the sky. Chicken. I feel nauseous and bilious when people are peeing. I have a thing about my space. My relatives, guys, they have put me in so much hellfire. You don't understand. I can't stand it when somebody comes in while I am showering or while I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth and they insist on sitting down and peeing. It's like, whoa, can't you wait? I don't go in when anybody's in there. And it has to be a few minutes after they've gotten out of there before I can go in. And even then, I don't open my mouth. I go in and out quick, do my business, leave. So it has been torturous for me to have to share into nabantu abaningangaga and there be one bathroom. But at least Mega was gone. So barely ever am I having to look at what is that? Funny little yellow stain on the toilet seat. I don't know what's funny that I have to look at. But in prison, you gotta see some woman's yellow stain, urine, blood, period, poop, asa flashang sintle. And because it's your cellmate, yo, guys, I'm sorry, like a so just therefore, the fact that hona le bana ba batlang ho kisa prison because ke mo bolaile abuti wa itse ke nkopa o be le tlhompho for taba gore nna ha ke rate o share di space a ke batle go ba le toilet in the same environment mo ke robalang teng because a ke gone lo a tlhama bula mlomo wa ka and nna jwanong every so often ke rata go ja mo dimampeto so nka se gone ho snack a ona le toilet mo siteng whether or not last time it was used was 6 hours ago. I'm not cut out for prison. That's why I'm above reproach. That's why I am a law-abiding citizen. Langudwa. That's why I don't walk into stores and lift maroto. Cause I'm not going to go. First and foremost, go bala ka dikobo tse nna ke sa di rekang ke di check self tse ke sa gone go di tlhatswa every so often. And then ke tlo share space le cherry grand shop e sa tlhaloganyeng anything about etiquette. Top of that gona le toilet mo ke robalang teng. Tshwantse ke lo ja dijo tse preparilweng ke mang a ke tsebe ke lo ja ka cutlery e ke sa gone go e check self ke tlhatswe self mara ke fiwele bang file yona I just had to grab it and just fell from a big stash. A woman that ought to be traveling to a restaurant with her own cutlery. Tshwantse nna ke lo sebedisa communal cutlery ya ko Deviant. Yo guys wait ke ke feel nka re latella at this particular junction le batla go nka pesa 1Z ke lo experience all that level of disquiet. My life as it is a prison-like circumstance in and of itself and a go bad. Ke share ntlo le basadi ba bangata ntle fela and I don't understand it. There's too many of them. Re three mo jarateng we get it. Ha ba bangata according to some people but for me it's too many. I have a thing about my space. Once I tasted independence next about to anyone except my husband. Only person with whom I can share bodily fluids cause I get mo monana. French kissing. So hulukile. Hanka nenze ke share living quarters that I'm always kissing and having sex with, but when it's some woman in Jefela lang down my throat when I don't have an attraction to women, I'm sorry. Once I got my own independence and I was able to live by myself, azanka khona udulele anybody else except for a man. But now at least get some kind of semblance of independence because I don't have to keep on hitting me nyako yabona ibulwa ikwala TV noisy microwave on. Guys, I have a thing about clutter. Goodness, I'm an INFJ. I need my silence. I need a time to regroup. Even when I was on the come up when my little sister was still a baby, my mom was living in a small little cocoon of a house because she had hard times. And when the child came on board, my mom made me share a bedroom with a domestic worker. It was the worst year and a half of my life. I was in high school. Every so often, all my life, since I was a kid, I've always had my own bedroom. And then my mom decided to go through a rough patch. And for a year and a half with a new baby, the domestic worker out here is sleeping in my bedroom. I hated it, but it lasted only a year and a half, and ever since then I was like, never again am I ever going to be subjugated to the tyranny of that. For some strange reason walk down the aisle to a man who says sense prison. He's going to put me in a dormitory. Ya di cherry tse dingata fela tse tlong borang tse sa ithateng tse sa itlhotse tse ikgotleng tse sa borateng o tlhapa tse every so often spit on the floor ga ba tsamaya nje fela ba sa nata ba le bilharzia. Yeah, mara I mean this is my life. I got a deal. I'm sorry, I'm not doing time. I'm not going in the slammer. This is the best prison I've the most prison-like circumstance I've ever been in, and I am not going to have another one, a real one this time. I have a thing about checking the fruit tsaka. I have to pick my own fruit. I have to pick my own food. Everything I am pedantic. Do you understand? Check and then just dig through the whole pile apple to make sure the blemishes. Anything given you. I'm not going to jail. And there was this one